All right, I need you to just picture this. You're at a crossroads in your life. Maybe you're feeling a profound sense of loneliness, disillusioned with the relentless grind of everyday society. Perhaps you're grappling with a recent loss, searching for deeper meaning, or yearning for a true sense of belonging that the modern world just doesn't seem to offer. You're looking for answers, for connection, for a path that promises something more. This is precisely the moment when the insidious, almost undetectable tendrils of a cult begin to reach out. They don't often present themselves as cults, of course, not at first. Instead, they appear as something beautiful, something profoundly appealing. They might be disguised as a cutting-edge self-help seminar, a spiritual awakening retreat, a tight-knit communal living project, or even a philanthropic organization dedicated to saving the world. The promise is always grand: ultimate truth, inner peace, boundless wealth, perfect health, a chosen community, or a direct line to divine purpose. They speak of a better way, a life free from the anxieties and disappointments of the outside world. At the heart of these groups is almost always a charismatic leader. Imagine someone who exudes an undeniable magnetism, whose words resonate deep within your soul, seeming to articulate your deepest fears and most fervent hopes. They appear to have all the answers, a solution for every problem, often claiming special knowledge, supernatural abilities, or even a direct connection to a higher power. They are master manipulators, expert at identifying vulnerabilities and weaving narratives that make you feel seen, understood, and incredibly special. They make you believe they hold the key to your salvation. People, often good people, step into this world seeking solace, finding what feels like instant camaraderie and acceptance. They attend introductory workshops, participate in free seminars, or join seemingly innocuous community gatherings. Like Sarah Davies, a fictional name for this narrative, who, after a particularly devastating period in her life, found herself drawn to what was advertised as a holistic wellness collective. It promised enlightenment, a supportive family, and a path to true happiness. Sarah was simply looking for a new beginning. She never imagined she was walking through a doorway that would lead her into a strange, dark, and mysterious world of psychological control, a journey deep into an invisible prison. Once inside, the shimmering veneer of community and enlightenment quickly began to fade, replaced by a subtle, then increasingly overt, system of invisible chains. For Sarah Davies, the Holistic Wellness Collective slowly but relentlessly started to reshape her reality. The first step was always information control and isolation. Members were subtly discouraged from contacting their old friends and family. Phone calls became monitored, internet access restricted, and external news sources dismissed as misinformation from the outside world, a world the leader portrayed as chaotic and untrustworthy. Soon, the only information Sarah received, the only perspective she heard, came directly from the leader and the inner circle. Her entire universe began to shrink to the confines of the collective. This isolation paved the way for profound brainwashing and psychological manipulation. Days were filled with marathon seminars and healing sessions, often lasting for hours, sometimes days, with little sleep or proper nutrition. The leader's doctrines were repeated incessantly, often in a trance-like state, eroding critical thinking and replacing it with absolute devotion. Techniques like love bombing, overwhelming new recruits with affection, and guilt tripping, blaming members for any doubts or failures, were masterfully employed. Sarah found herself constantly striving for the leader's approval, terrified of falling short of their impossibly high, ever-shifting standards. The grip tightened further with financial control. What started as voluntary donations quickly escalated. Members were pressured, then outright forced, to contribute larger and larger sums, to work unpaid for cult businesses, or even to sign over their entire life savings and property to the organization, or directly to the leader. Any personal wealth was framed as a barrier to true spiritual growth, or a contribution to the collective good. Many, like Sarah, found themselves financially dependent on the cult, their passports confiscated, their bank accounts emptied, making escape seem impossible. And then there was the chilling reality of abuse and punishment. Behind the facade of love and light, dissent was met with swift, often brutal consequences. This could range from public shaming and emotional degradation to severe physical beatings, sleep deprivation, or even sexual abuse, often justified by the leader as necessary spiritual cleansing or tests of faith. The more you resisted, the harsher the punishment. This created a profound climate of fear, ensuring obedience. Sarah witnessed firsthand how a fellow member was mercilessly berated for simply questioning a minor rule, a terrifying display that extinguished any thought of defiance in her own mind. Gradually, chillingly, the personality of the members began to transform. The vibrant, independent individuals who entered the collective faded away, replaced by hollowed-out versions of themselves, obedient, subservient, and seemingly incapable of independent thought or action. Sarah, once a spirited and hopeful woman, was now a shell, her mind trapped in an invisible prison, her life entirely dictated by the cult. The promise of enlightenment had become a creepy nightmare, and the door to the dark had slammed shut behind her. Behind the smiling faces and the serene teachings, the Holistic Wellness Collective and countless cults like it were not just manipulating minds, they were engaging in full-blown criminal enterprises. The endless donations and forced labor were just the tip of the iceberg. This was an ecosystem built on exploitation, and it often escalated to outright fraud, blackmail, and far worse, all shrouded in the impenetrable secrecy of the cult. One of the most common and devastating crimes was large-scale financial fraud. The leader, often operating with absolute power, would orchestrate elaborate schemes. This could involve selling incredibly expensive, often useless healing products, or spiritual courses to unsuspecting outsiders, promising miraculous results. They might engage in intricate investment scams, convincing wealthy new recruits to pour their life savings into fake ventures controlled by the cult. Or, they'd set up shell charities, funneling legitimate donations meant for noble causes directly into the leader's private coffers, all while maintaining a facade of philanthropy. The collective's immense wealth, accumulated through these illicit means, served only to enrich the leadership and expand their dark influence. But the crimes weren't limited to money. Cults often leveraged the intimate, personal information gleaned from members' confessionals, vulnerability sessions designed to extract deepest fears, secrets, and past mistakes, for blackmail and intimidation. If a member dared to question the leader or tried to leave, their deepest secrets could be exposed to their families, employers, or even the public. For those who managed to escape, anonymous threats or malicious rumors would follow them, a chilling reminder that the cult's reach extended far beyond its physical compounds. Perhaps the most heinous and often deeply hidden crimes were sexual and child abuse. Under the guise of sacred rituals, spiritual cleansing, or even divine unions, leaders would systematically exploit and abuse vulnerable members, particularly women and children. These acts, often normalized or justified within the cult's twisted doctrine, left indelible scars. Children born into these cults were often subjected to unspeakable horrors, their innocence stolen by those who claimed to be their spiritual guides. These were the true horror stories, meticulously buried beneath layers of secrecy and denial. And then there were the mysterious disappearances or deaths. Members who became too inquisitive, too defiant, or too knowledgeable about the cult's inner workings sometimes simply vanished. Their absences were dismissed as leaving for spiritual journeys, or choosing to separate themselves. In other cases, members would be found deceased under highly questionable circumstances, their deaths quickly ruled accidental or suicide by authorities, often due to the cult's manipulation of evidence or their powerful influence over local officials. These were the cold cases that lingered, whispers in the wind that something far more sinister had occurred. Despite mounting suspicions and occasional police inquiries, these cults often managed to cover up their crimes and manipulate the legal system. Their vast resources allowed them to hire top-tier lawyers, intimidate witnesses, or even bribe officials. The unwavering loyalty of brainwashed members created a wall of silence, making it nearly impossible for investigators to gather concrete evidence. The promises of enlightenment had twisted into a monstrous reality, where innocent lives were destroyed and real true crimes were meticulously hidden behind the doctrine, leaving behind an agonizing mystery. For most trapped within the cult's suffocating grip, The idea of escape remained a terrifying, almost impossible fantasy. But occasionally, a faint glimmer of hope would pierce through the brainwashing. For Sarah Davies, it was a fleeting glance at an old photograph she'd secretly kept, a picture of her and her younger sister laughing, untouched by the cult's control. That simple image, a tangible link to her past, ignited a spark of defiance. Or perhaps it was witnessing an act of extreme cruelty, a lie from the leader too blatant to ignore, or a quiet conversation with another doubting member that slowly chipped away at the manufactured reality. This was the breaking point, the moment a mind, long enslaved, began its agonizing journey towards freedom. The escape plan was always fraught with unimaginable risk. It was often a solo mission, meticulously planned in secret, every step cloaked in paranoia. Cults employ sophisticated surveillance, both physical and psychological, making a clean break incredibly difficult. Members might sneak away in the dead of night, leaving behind everything they owned, knowing the cult would likely come looking. The fear of being caught, of the brutal punishment that awaited, was a constant, chilling companion. For Sarah, it meant months of faking unwavering loyalty, subtly saving meager funds, and finally, slipping away under the cover of darkness, her heart pounding with a mixture of terror and desperate hope. But escape was just the beginning of another, equally arduous battle, the psychological aftermath. Survivors emerged from the cult as profoundly traumatized individuals, grappling with severe PTSD, fragmented identities, and a deep, pervasive inability to trust anyone. Years of systematic brainwashing left them struggling to distinguish truth from manipulation, their minds a chaotic labyrinth of conflicting realities. They often experienced immense guilt, shame, and a crushing sense of loss for the years, relationships, and opportunities stolen from them. Relearning basic life skills, managing finances, or simply making independent decisions felt overwhelmingly foreign. Then came the daunting task of struggling to be believed. When a survivor finally mustered the courage to tell their story to family, friends, or law enforcement, they were often met with skepticism. The narrative of brainwashing and hidden crimes seemed too fantastical, too strange, dark, and mysterious for many to comprehend. Families, often estranged for years, struggled to reconcile the person they knew with the traumatized, fearful individual before them. Authorities, without concrete physical evidence or clear-cut crime scenes, often found it difficult to act on testimonies that sounded like fiction. Yet, despite these immense hurdles, many survivors embarked on a relentless quest for justice. They bravely recounted their harrowing experiences, collaborated with support groups for ex-cult members, and meticulously pieced together fragmented memories to provide evidence to law enforcement. Their courage was astonishing, as they often faced continued intimidation, legal threats, and smear campaigns orchestrated by the cult. These individuals became beacons of resilience, their journeys a testament to the enduring human spirit, even after enduring the most creepy and unimaginable psychological torment. The path to healing was long, and justice often agonizingly slow, but their escape offered a faint, yet powerful, glimmer of hope that the unsolved mystery of these shadowy organizations might one day be fully exposed. As of mid-2025, the chilling reality remains. Many of these secret cults and shadowy organizations continue to operate, often right under our noses. While some, like the fictional Holistic Wellness Collective, might face scrutiny or even legal action due to brave survivors, others simply rebrand, relocate, or adapt their tactics, vanishing into the digital ether or establishing new compound zones in remote, unsuspecting communities. Their insidious influence persists, a quiet, unsolved mystery lurking in the blind spots of modern society. The challenge of dismantling these groups is immense, fraught with legal and societal hurdles. Prosecuting cult leaders is incredibly difficult. Brainwashed members often serve as loyal, unshakable witnesses for the defense, or simply refuse to testify. The legal concept of freedom of religion often provides a powerful shield, making it hard to distinguish between legitimate spiritual practice and criminal manipulation. Furthermore, these organizations frequently amass significant wealth and political influence, enabling them to hire top-tier legal teams and suppress investigations. The justice system, designed for clear-cut crimes, struggles to navigate the labyrinthine world of psychological coercion and subtle abuse. Yet the stories of survivors like Sarah Davies are not in vain. They serve as a vital lesson in vigilance for us all. Her harrowing true story is a testament to the fact that evil doesn't always wear a monstrous face. Sometimes it wears a smile and offers empty promises of paradise. These narratives compel us to recognize the red flags of manipulation, an insistence on isolation, demands for unquestioning loyalty, control over finances, suppression of critical thinking, and the presence of an infallible, charismatic leader. They teach us the profound importance of maintaining our independent thought, questioning authority, and protecting our personal boundaries. The legacy of these cults is a dual one, a scar on the lives of their victims and a chilling warning to society. They remind us that the human desire for belonging, purpose, and spiritual fulfillment can be twisted into something profoundly creepy and destructive. The emotional and physical scars left on survivors are a stark testament to the depths of human cruelty and the terrifying power of unchecked influence. In the end, the shadowy organizations of America persist, a constant, unsettling presence. They are a dark mirror reflecting our own vulnerabilities and desires. This horror story is not just about what happened to a few individuals. It's about the pervasive threat of manipulation that can exist anywhere, hidden in plain sight. And as long as there are those seeking solace and purpose, there will be others ready to offer a false promise, waiting in the shadows, ready to exert control.